Barrister Babatunde Bamigboye, Victoria Oloni, Mojirayo Ogunlana-Ikanga, and Mr. Ridwan Oloyede. These are our panelists, and we're waiting for them. Please, once you are online, can you say hello to us? We need to hit the ground running, please.
Thank you, Madam. Hello. Sorry, I'm at the event. Not online. That is Mojirayo speaking.
Yes, I can hear that voice, and I know the voice very well. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate your presence. So we are waiting for Ridwan Oloyede, Victoria Oloni, and Babatunde Bamigboye. And we're going to be discussing navigating data governance and privacy in the digital economy of Nigeria. I believe this is going to be an interesting session, but we cannot start until we see our panelists. Barrister Ikanga is with us now. So we're waiting for Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, Victoria Oloni, and of course, the last but not the least, Babatunde Bamigboye from NDPC. Please, if you're online, please kindly say hello to us. We need to hit the ground running, please. So we are waiting for our panelists. One of them is here with us. So we are waiting for the other three. So please bear with us. If we're able to get two of our panelists, I believe we can start because of our time. You know, we have limited time, and we can't afford to waste time for this panel session. It's a very important session, and I believe that all of us are ready to contribute. And that's the more reason why we have to hit the ground running. If we're able to get two of our panelists, I believe we can start, while others will join us as we progress in the conversation. But if it's just one of them, I think we just have to exercise patience for a couple of minutes so that at least we can have two of them joining us. Thank you for your understanding. So let me repeat the names. Barrister Babatunde Bamigboye from NDPC, Victoria Oloni from Associate Templar Law Firm. I can see Barrister Mojirayo Ogunlana-Ikanga. So you're welcome. And of course, the last but not the least, Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, the co-founder of Tech Hive Advisory. So these are the other people we're waiting for, apart from Barrister Mojirayo Ikanga. We just need two of them to hit the ground running so that we can have an interesting conversation. And of course, probably maybe while we're waiting for them, let me quickly run through the format of this, session. So we're going to have 4 sessions, so to say, right? The first one is going to be for 40 minutes, and that's going to be like a roundtable discussion where our panelists will be answering, policy questions, so to say. After that, we'll go into open forum where each and every participant will have the opportunity to contribute, share their thoughts and let us have their own opinion. So after that, we now go into question and answers. So that the participants will definitely have questions for our panelists, and there you have the opportunity to ask your questions. And of course, I know that our erudite panelists are, ready to do justice to all those questions. So that is going to be the format. And then after that, we're going to sum up everything that we have discussed today before we go back into the, into the main hall. So we are still waiting. Do we have our panelists? 3 of them are still being awaited, so to say. So we are waiting for Barrister Babatunde Bamigboye from NDPC. We're also waiting for Barrister Victoria Oloni from Associate Templars Law Firm. And of course, the last but not the least, Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, the co-founder of Hive Advisory. Do we have any of these three personalities on this call now? Oh my God, what's going on? We just need one more to join us so that we can start our session. I guess maybe some of them are still having difficulty in joining the session. So what do we do? At least we need two of them to be on this call before we can start our conversation. Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, Victoria Oloni, and Babatunde Bamigboye. These are the panelists we are waiting for. Rapporteur, please, can you spotlight the room for panel session 4, the breakout room 4? Thank you. I want to be sure that probably maybe they are on site. If they're on site, they need to be connected to us so that we can hear them and, you know, have this conversation. I can see that some participants are just going into breakout rooms now. So I guess we may have one or two of them. And we hope that they join us as soon as possible. Okay, fantastic. Just as I guessed, I think I guessed right. So I can see Ridwan Oloyede joining us now. So we have Ridwan Oloyede, we have Mojirayo Ikanga, and we're still waiting for Victoria Oloni and Babatunde Bamigboye for this panel session to be complete. However, if we don't have the other two panelists, I believe that the two panelists that are on this call can actually do justice to this conversation. All right. Just one more minute, then we hit the ground running. Thank you very much for your patience. We appreciate you. And please, when it is time for you to contribute, we are going to be given time, and please feel free to contribute, because why we are here is to brainstorm, to talk about, you know, the issue at stake, so that we can have, you know, communicate at the end of the day. And those communiques are actually useful because they are going to be part of what we go into future policies. And of course, it's going to be sent to, you know, relevant government agencies for consideration, so to say. So that is why it is important to hear your voice in this session. Okay. So now we have two of our panelists on this call. We're still waiting for Babatunde Bamigboye and Victoria Oloni. And perhaps we need to hit the ground running now, since we have two of our panelists on this call. Please, can you hear me loud and clear? I want to be sure that everybody can hear me, both online and on-site. Please, I need your confirmation.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are you online or on-site?
Online, please.
Okay, so I need somebody on-site to confirm the fact that they can hear me loud and clear from the breakout room 4. Sir.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. All right, so we're going to hit the ground running. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Breakout Session 4 with the theme, Navigating Data Governance and Privacy in the Digital Economy of Nigeria. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting, conversation in which everybody is going to be involved. And like I earlier said, there are going to be 3 sessions in this breakout session. right? The first session is going to be the session where our panelists are going to be answering questions, policy questions that are going to be posed to them. And after that, we're going to the open forum, and that is the segment where our participants will have the opportunity to contribute by sharing their own opinion and their own thoughts. Then after that, we are going to wrap it up with questions and answer, because I believe that in the course of this conversation, something may be burning in your heart, and probably maybe you may want to ask one or two questions, especially based on what you may have heard from our panelists. So you will have the opportunity to ask your questions at that particular segment before we wrap it up. All right, so I want our panelists to introduce themselves now. So I'm going to start with Barrister Mojirayo. Please know that this is in no particular order. So Barrister Mojirayo, you have the floor. Can we meet you?
Thank you.
1 minute.
So as I was saying, so Mojirayo Ogunlana-Ikanga, legal practitioner, one of the members of the ISOC Engr legal team, or co-chairs. Then of course I've been a digital rights lawyer for over 7-8 years. And one of the things that we do as digital rights lawyer is safeguarding our internet space. And I think one of the cases, or several cases I would say, has been on internet shutdown. And also on, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of the 222 days of Twitter ban in Nigeria. I was one of the lawyers who went to the ECOWAS court to oppose that move by the Nigerian government. So I think that's basically the work I can say for now. But I just want you to know that I've been committed to digital rights and the civic space for a very long time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. We are glad to meet you, and I'm happy to hear the parts where you said that you are a member of Internet Society Nigerian chapter. Yes, that is true, and she's been doing a lot of work with Internet Society. We appreciate you, Ma. Please keep the flag flying. Thank you. All right, we go to the next panelist, and that is no other person than Mr. Ridwan Oloyede. Can we meet you, please?
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Ridwan. It's a pleasure to be here. I currently lead the technology policy team at Hive Advisory, a technology policy and advisory research firm based out of Africa and Europe, where part of my work has focused around research, policy intervention, operationalizing privacy programs. And part of what we also do outside of my day-to-day is also I lend my voice to quite a number of things through advocacy. But generally, I do all sorts of things. I also sit on the board of quite a number of bodies from African Biodata Foundation, and also part of the experts member of the Council of Europe Data Protection Unit. I also do quite a number of work as part of the working group of the National Institute of Standard and Technology in the US. So I do all sorts of things, and I apologize for joining late. I conflicted my schedule. I'm in a different part of the world, so my timeline is a bit messed up. And also, because I messed up my timeline, I'll just be here for a few minutes, so I'll let you know when I need to leave. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to engaging.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ridwan Oloyede. We appreciate your presence, and we're excited about your presence, and we know that your contribution is going to, enrich this conversation, so to say. All right, so we're still waiting for Victoria Oloni and Babatunde Bamigboye. Please, rapporteur, anytime they come on this call, please kindly nudge me digitally so that we can introduce them and get them into the conversation. But for now, I think we hit the ground running. All right, so as the world becomes more technologically advanced, it is important for Nigeria to keep up with the latest emerging technologies in order to benefit from the advancements and compete on a global scale, especially with our teeming youth population. The adoption of new technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, Internet of Things, popularly known as IoT, robotics, and even drone technologies. All these are what we are seeing nowadays. They are evolving very fast, and they are rapidly changing the ecosystem. In fact, there is another one, that is the issue of metaverse. Metaverse is crucial to building a thriving digital economy. However, there are also concerns around the regulatory and legal frameworks needed to manage the risk associated with these technologies. This session will explore the opportunities and risks presented by these emerging technologies and how these can best position Nigeria to a better digital economy. So that's the long and short of the story of what we are going to be discussing. And without wasting time, please, am I still audible? Anytime you feel like my voice is not clear, please just let me know.
I can confirm your audibility.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to pose the first questions to Barrister Mojirayo Ogunlana-Ikanga. And the question is this: what are the most promising emerging technologies for Nigeria, and how can they be effectively integrated into the Nigerian ecosystem to promote economic growth? So the truth of the matter is that we are talking about digital economy. And if you see, even under the portfolio of the Honorable Minister, the full name is Ministry of Communications, Innovations, and Digital Economy. And that's to tell you that there's no way we can, just treat digital economy with hand of levity. It has come to stay, and we really need to talk about it. So, Barrister Ikanga, over to you. You have 4 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I think for me, from what I would look, or from the perspective I've been looking at the technological space, I would look at, I've seen the very beautiful role of artificial intelligence. Well, I say very beautiful role because I know that I wasn't using the word beautiful, but like 5 years ago, probably, I wasn't using that word. And of course, that's my word beautiful also is still subjective. I can see the fact that in the digital economy, there are so many things that are happening. A lot of businesses and a lot of women, and I can be very driven by gender rights. I see a lot of women keying into this atmosphere where they can transact, where they can connect with other, with businesses and collaborate with partners. So I see that artificial intelligence, even as beautiful and laudable that people are thinking innovatively, I see that it's very easy for especially women who are creative women. I'm sorry, going gender again. For people who are creative, for instance, I was in the midst of animators, and when I was in the midst of the animators, I was very, very impressed with the fact that Nigerians are having young girls animators who have been able to create animation, and that has been helping them to link up with platforms like Netflix and which other one? There was this Prime. They've been having, the opportunity because of AI to manipulate to manipulate their creativity. And so I see that technology has been very of an advantage to them. And I know that later on we are going to talk about the negative aspect of artificial intelligence. And then of course I've I've met with young people who have been speaking so much about ChatGPT, for instance. Hey, ChatGPT, with that, you can create so many things. I've even seen, people who could not create content at some particular point in time have been able to use ChatGPT to create content so that, they can have more traffic on their Instagram pages, for instance. And so these are all important things. And then, of course, I've seen in the banking sector, for instance, that they are creating opportunities for, especially, I think it's Access Bank that has been creating opportunities for women, especially women, I think women farmers, and giving them through their applications. They create specific softwares where women can log in and be able to easily meet up with customers and meet up with clients and all that. So I see that we are moving. I see that we are creating so much, or the world is creating so much. I see that the technology is advancing at a very unprecedented rate. And most of the times we are seeing softwares, we are seeing applications that are making things easier, that are facilitating, ease of businesses. We are seeing, even some platforms, social media platforms that have made ease of business. If you're talking about Instagram, you're talking about Twitter, before the Twitter ban, I know that Twitter was a very huge hotcake when it comes to the digital economy. People were really, really invested in Twitter. In fact, at that time, one of the litigants that we took to the ECOWAS courts had claimed that over 252 billion. Yes, that Nigeria lost over 252 billion of 252 trillion naira at that time. I can't remember the figure, just because of shutting down Twitter for 222 days. So we see that the technologies that are available, the platforms that are available, are giving opportunities, a lot of opportunities for whether young, old. In fact, it doesn't even. I'm looking at it from the perspective that it doesn't even matter what age you are. The digital economy is very open to all age brackets, especially when you can update yourself, when you can develop yourself, when you can move with the times, when you can advance with the emerging technologies. So that's what that's what I can actually pinpoint at this time. So I'll let Mr. Ridwan.
All right, thank you very much. So thank you very much, Barrister Ikanga. And from what you have said so far, you mentioned the fact that AI has been used to connect with businesses, and of course, banking applications have been developed using AIs, and of course, the issue of young girls developing animations, and that has brought a lot of opportunities, for them, and of course, the use of the mighty ChatGPT. For those people that even before they couldn't create content, and now they can by the use of ChatGPT. So I think these are wonderful, opportunities. And please, I want you to hold your thought on how we can actually leverage, upon these emerging technologies to address key challenges, in areas such as healthcare, agriculture, and so on and so forth. So I'll come back to you. But for now, let me go to Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, but I'm not going to be asking the same question because I want him to talk about something different. And that's going to be the potential risk and, of course, benefits associated with the adoption of emerging technologies in Nigeria. How can this risk be effectively mitigated through regulatory and legal framework? Over to you, Mr. Ridwan Oloyede. Right, you have the floor. 4 minutes.
All right, thank you. So for me, one thing is, we need to first look at what are the immense benefits that all of these technologies offer us, because aside the fact that we have like an incredible opportunity, or it provides us like incredible opportunity to, it democratizes access, it decentralizes also the benefits. So we need to think about what are like the low hanging fruit, the quick benefit that we can gain from it. In developed economies, we've seen incredible use cases for some of these technologies. For example, But then in our own
Yeah.
case, what are like the like the small problems that we can, solve or address with these technologies themselves. So if you pick a technology like Internet of Things, for example, in some part of the world, we've seen how this itself has morphed into, healthcare, and it's like an entire body of work called the Internet of Bodies. So how this is really so transformative, how this is beneficial, helping people heal, helping people with long-term ailments, conditions that in the past we've not been able to properly manage, helping them to now, manage all of these conditions, and how this is feeding into the healing process. You think about how transformative, technology like AI is itself. Take away the hype, take away the outrageous use cases or the excesses, but then we can take away the fact that yes, truly, there's so much benefit that this technology truly offers. And you can pick it all apart. Look around, just look at any of the emerging techs around, from blockchain to whatever case study that you want to see. You're seeing how this is helping developing economies like ours, solves basic problems, making process more efficient, making things more seamless. But then the key challenge that has always been around the deployment of these technologies, and not just to get far ahead of ourselves, is there's one side of the conversations that ignore the current risk that this technology gives us. So if you look at the whole some bucket of conversation around AI risk, for example, people are talking about future risk, talking about existential risk. But then the use of AI in its current form, in its current use, whether it's facial recognition technology or whatever form in which it's been manifesting, we're seeing current risks that are not being addressed, from bias to discrimination to even the privacy risks that come with it. And every privacy risk, every AI risk that has been documented. We've seen use cases of how this has been deployed in justice system, for example, and now it has proven to be biased against people of ethnic minorities. We've seen how this has weeded people out, how it's been biased to people, how it has excluded people. You look at the really incredible opportunity that a technology like facial recognition offers, but then you also think about the way in which it has been deployed, used by governments to surveil people, to profile people, to build like a whole life profile about people, and then assess scoring and social scoring, and this really outrageous use cases. So we need to address the current risk now. We can worry about existential risk when it comes, but then they're like current risk which the conversation typically deflects and he ignores. So in our own case, why we can make a case for, we talk about fourth industrial revolution, whether it's the fifth, we talk about Web 3.0, we talk about Web 4.0, whatever number you choose to use. Yes, we understand the benefits, we understand how we can use it, but then it's also understanding the fact that using these technologies has to come from a mindset of building in safeguards, building in rails, building, piloting and encouraging responsible use of these technologies. And, we hold accountability, governance framework, because again, once its constance is always that technology is always going to get ahead of us, it's always going to get ahead of us. And pretty much from a regulatory point of view, we're always going to play catch up. And sometimes even for regulators, it's not always the black letters laws that it's the only form of regulation that we know. And I'll give an example. There is a way speed bumps tells you automatically to slow down. It's a form of regulation. Street lights is also a form of regulation, which we put as architecture. But let's forget the fact that maybe we ignore street lights. But then a speed bump is like a good example where, you walk across, then you need to slow down if you don't want to maybe destroy your car, for example. So when it comes to regulation too, you can't make a law today, and then a new technology comes, you're trying to amend that law. And we know how long it takes to amend laws in this part of the world. So in regulating too, it's also about, so now there are like big conversation these days about, let's take a different approach to regulation. Let's look at things like regulatory sandboxes. Let's look at things like taking a more principle-based approach to regulation rather than trying to take a rule-based approach that keep things just as they are. And eventually you realize the technology, you can see a rule-based approach where a law specifically mentions the technology. I've seen a draft law in this country where it mentions specific businesses, companies. So it simply means when these businesses stop existing, the law stop applying. It never made it past a bill, by the way. But the point I'm making about, having a rule-based approach to making things is the fact that in the future, you can expand beyond it. So there's a whole conversation now, like, let's take a more principled approach to regulation. Let's take a more architecture-based approach to regulation. Let's take a more innovative way to regulation. And it's not always like the sword, the brick, the hammer, and everything is a new kind of model to regulation. So it's like a whole ecosystem. The people who are building, the people who have identified problems, the problem the regulator has the responsibility to then also, there's a regulator. So it's like a whole ecosystem, right? The people who are building, the people who are solving the problem, people whose problem needs to be solved. Then there is a regulator on the other side who needs to create like a conducive environment for these use cases to thrive, not just shut them down, or we stop people from innovating, or we stop people from building genuine products that can solve real problems. So it's a whole ecosystem, and it's a big place for collaboration, which I think it's really incredible and we need to think about. So that's what I'd like to say. I'm sorry, I have to leave right now. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
leave right now. Yes.
Okay, but before you leave, can you just answer one more question? Then I will release you, please. Even if it's going to be in 1 minute. All right, so the question is, what do you, the role of capacity building and digital literacy in enhancing Nigeria's readiness to adopt and benefit from emerging technologies? Can you talk about that in 1 minute before you leave, please?
Can you take that again, please? Sorry, a truck was passing, so I couldn't hear properly.
I want you to just talk about or discuss the role of capacity building and digital literacy in enhancing Nigeria's readiness to adopt and benefit from emerging technologies. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a thing about, a thing is useless if you don't know how to use it. You can have power, but if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know, even if you understand the power, they understand the extent in which the benefit the power can give you, it's pointless, it's useless. It's just like giving something to someone who don't know how to use it. And we always know how it only ends one way: misuse, underuse. So in this case, to be able to make meaningful use, to be able to meaningfully, utilize the benefit of emerging techs, what we're looking at is we need to build capacity. And we can't build capacity in isolation, because we need to build capacity with people who are actually building the core technology itself. I mean, I hear a lot of things about taking an African model, taking a Nigerian model to things, but we're not building the infrastructure. We're not building that. We're not building the hard stuff. We're not building the technology itself. So how do we then localize what we're not building? So there is a big role for us to be able to build capacity, technical capacity, but also building capacity for people who need to use, sensitizing people who are the users on the other side as well. So they understand the risks, the danger, but also the benefit that these technologies, because we can't have a problem and our first solution is proposing a technological solution. And that's what we call tech solutionism. And it's a lot. There's this really problem and someone think, they can build technology around innovating around the problem. Yeah, you can innovate around process, you can innovate around things, make things more efficient and all of that. But it doesn't take away the fact that there are foundational problems that needs to be solved. And I'll give you an example. So one of the ways in which in different parts of the world, they've been trying to solve things around, and this is like a very, very touchy issue, but then it's also very important to bring the conversation. So looking around solving child online safety. So look at child's abuse, for example, online. So we have like the risk where we've seen children being grouped online for sexual activities, children being stalked, children being bullied, children committing suicide because people were extorting them for sex. I'm probably familiar with a couple of Nigerians that were recently extradited to the US because a teen died because of sextortion. So one of the key solutions that have been proposed, a technological solution, is, let's do a client-side scanning. By scanning, we're going to scan every picture, every video that comes into a device. But the challenge with this solution is the fact that in as much as, you can help us, the fact is, if you look at historically and by statistics, children have been abused by people who they know, family members, family friends, people around them, people that are familiar with them. So there's a functional problem that is not even morphing online. We're not solving a functional problem. But the problem also with the use of the technology is the fact that now with client-side scanning, we have a case where a woman, for example, during COVID, couldn't go to the hospital, took a picture of the pelvic region of the child who was, maybe the color was changing or maybe had a swelling, and then sent it to the doctor. And then the client-side scanning device, technology scanned it, profiled it like it's a sexual abuse picture. And then the mother was arrested, which of course ignores context. So solution to every problem can be, there are some problems that are foundational, which we need to solve the foundational problem before building technology on it. Because again, when we build technology on something that is broken, what you have is a digital broken process. So it's about identifying our technology, the extent in which every technology can solve the problem. If it's a foundational one, fix the foundational problem. You can build technology on it to make it more efficient, cool. But capacity building for regulators to who then makes them so connected to reality. Because again, we have situations where regulators are introducing regulations, they're enforcing, and the model is completely disconnected from reality. It's completely disconnected from, so think about MSMEs who typically get ignored. We create this long list of obligations, but they're just trying to live for the next day. They don't have the resources, they don't have the competence, they don't have to prioritize that enough. They're just trying to survive for the next day. So making sure regulations are embedded in reality, they are rooted in reality, they are rooted with problems people are dealing with. And that also involves building capacity, because when we build capacity, we make sure that people also have a good understanding of what is happening in the industry. And it's rooted in reality and not just disconnect and just want to review for the sake of regulation. Sorry, I know you asked me 1 minute, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time on this call. And that is Mr. Ridwan Oloyede for us. He answered the question on how we can leverage emerging technologies to address key challenges in areas such as healthcare. I think that's the question meant for Barrister Mojirayo. So he answered the question on capacity building, and he has told us that, okay, look, the issue of capacity building goes beyond just doing something. It has to be, holistic if you want to build capacity. So you have to talk about capacity building from A to Z. A to Z in the sense that, okay, the regulators have to build capacity, and even the users have to build capacities. The innovators have to build capacity, and so on and so forth. You also mentioned the issue of sensitization, that it is very important that we do sensitization on capacity building so that at least people will know what exactly they are building capacity on. And on the issue of the regulation that can be used, he talked about the use of sandboxes, rule-based approach to our regulation, so that at least when we are dealing with issues, we are sure that we are dealing with the nitty-gritty, that is the real issues. That means we have to deal with issues from the foundation and not just looking at it from the peripheral side. So I think these are important issues that we really, really need to look at, and I hope the rapporteur are taking note of that. All right, without wasting time, we go back to Barrister Mojirayo Ikanga, and of course, you already have the question that I said you should ruminate on. So we are back to you now, and I want you to answer the question, which of course is on how we can leverage, emerging technologies to address key challenges in areas such as healthcare, finances, agriculture, etc., etc. And of course, the aim of this is to see how we can promote inclusive growth, in the digital economy sector. So over to you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. For the health sector, I've from the research so far, I was able to discover that okay, so I said in the health sector, we can think about trackers and sensors. And that, for instance, you see you see these little gadgets that people have right now that they can sit down in their homes very, on their own, and then they can check their heart rates, they can check their BPs, they can check, they can monitor specific things like your sugar level. You can do all these things. So, it's beautiful that they have developed these machineries from programs like AI, so that it will not be like, especially for Nigeria, that is a peculiar country where you cannot pick your phone and call ambulance services, and they will get to your location immediately. If you have these gadgets in the house, it also helps the health sector, because you're already taking away the preliminaries. For anyone who goes into the hospital, for instance, you know that the first thing they will do, they will want to take your BP. When they take your BP, they will look at the height, they will look at all these things. But when we have these trackers, we have these monitors, it's easier for you to just do these things, even though it's as if, it may actually come across, that's the disadvantage, as self-help. But the way the world is moving, it will even get to a point, because I had a discussion with the doctor. He said it will get to a point where people can accurately prescribe medication for themselves. That is what technology is doing. And yes, it is scary, because now, you know, we are going to be overriding a professional who can tell you the level of what to take. But now the machines will be able to tell you, the tools you'll be having, the softwares you'll be having, the applications you'll be having will be telling you the exact amount of what you need based on your body mass index, which of course people can take right now by just manipulating or exploiting all the technologies that we have right now. And then of course there's robotics. Robotics is if you don't look at the negative aspects of AI, you would look at it that robotics is one of the best things that have happened to humanity. Because those times in the past, for instance, when somebody loses a particular organ, you know, it's worrisome. They feel like they are less of who they are. But it has moved past that. You can, with emerging technologies, we can do things with your eyes, your ears, everything, and then you would not feel handicapped. You will not feel as if you are disabled in any way. I'm just, you know, and then surgeries are more accurate with robotics. You can do surgeries. For instance, I know somebody who did CS, and I know two people who did CS. One was sewn. The other person it was laser technology that was used. Years later, when you look at both of them who have done CS, one has a scar, the other one does not have a scar. That is beautiful. And that is what technology has been achieving for us. And I think that Nigeria, I don't know, maybe the very, very big private hospitals have been adopting laser, but I have not seen that. The second person I'm talking of that used the laser did it outside the country. So imagine if you have if you have a government, especially the health ministry, spending so much, budgeting this and spending so much on technologies like this, it would also, you know, improve the health services and healthcare that Nigerians are achieving. Then, of course, there are opportunities for helplines now. In, you know, helplines where you can, when you find yourself in a particular situation, you can quickly type in. For instance, you have these chat boxes that you can just quickly type in and somebody can easily help you immediately. This is what technology has afforded us, you know. For instance, the executive director of DigiCivic Initiative. DigiCivic Initiative is an NGO that promotes digital rights and the civic space. So one of the things that we are incorporating to our website, for instance, is the help desk, the helpline. We even call it hot desk, so that immediately there is an harassment going on online, especially for female journalists. For female journalists, they get free legal services from beginning to the end, even from litigation to judgment. That is what DigiCivic is offering. But if you're not a female journalist, we are not offering. I'm just giving that insight. So with that, you can just come up and say, I'm a female journalist. I'm going through harassment right now. Somebody is threatening my life, or somebody is sharing my videos, my pictures, nude pictures. And you know, they can manipulate AI to put your face and put naked bodies for you. So with the technology and technological tools that we have experts, apart from lawyers, because most people in the organization are lawyers, but we have technical experts who are able to do some tracing and tracking. We have someone that is an ethical hacker, for instance. So I'm just saying that with the technology, you get in hotline, you can easily get help, because the reality is this. And I hope that the Chatham rule, engineer, the Chatham rule applies there. So yeah, women walks into a room, you know, as a lawyer, I'm bound to keep confidential information. So it was obvious that these two women are lesbians, but somebody had leaked their videos in a particular forum platforms, and they've been circulating this thing. Now, imagine they are lesbians. Somebody has been circulating their pictures, videos. Now they walk up to the Nigerian police. Imagine, they will get it that day. Not only laughter, they will get insults. They will get, they will be stigmatized and be shamed to the level that the Nigerian police will not look at the aspects of the criminal offense that is going on. Somebody sharing your private data when you have not given them the permission. They won't look at that. What they will immediately be held back by their prejudices. And that prejudice is that, oh, Nigeria says that no same sex. Meanwhile, this no same sex marriage, Nigeria said, in quotes. Now, so I'm just giving that. But with an NGO like BG Civic Initiative, I'm not there to judge you. I am there to promote human rights at every point in time, digital rights. When you come to me, I would know how to put the issue to the law enforcement in a way that it does not stigmatize you or it does not make you feel less of a citizen of Nigeria. You're a citizen of Nigeria, and that is that. Therefore, I'm Greek. I have a sister who uses this particular platform, Prosper. With Prosper, she has been able to manage her accounts. In the past, when she's been farming, you will see her, somebody will pay her for this because she does sweet corn, does a lot of things in the agri sector. And she's unable to manage her money. But with Prosper, I am not promoting Prosper, by the way. I'm just giving an example of a digital tool. She's been able to track the finances that are coming in. She's been able to track the products that she's that she has the produce for every month. She knows the statistics. She knows the estimate. She knows to the last kobo. She knows how to budget. She knows how to get out taxes from this particular platform, this app that has given her these solutions. So imagine if we can deploy these solutions to every farmer in Nigeria, or for people in the agri sector. We should have such apps that are homegrown, that are built for these people. You will notice that there will be a lot of efficiency in the agri sector. Not only that, we have tools now, digital emerging technologies that can allow you to test soil quality. A lot of things are happening, and it's beautiful that these things are happening in my time. I don't know. I think in the next generation, it will even be more wowing if there's any word like that. So with digital technologies, you can do tests. You can do soil testing. You can get your budgeting done, and so many others. Then for finances, or for the financial sector, we know, for instance, that all it takes you right now to open an account is just to have an app, for instance, and you can open an account without even stressing. In the past, we would be on a queue from morning to night because we want to open a bank account with, e.g., First Bank. Now, mentioning First Bank, at a point in time, First Bank had an issue and a hacking whereby some people conveniently moved 2 billion out of their accounts. Now, when they did that, the people were very smart enough. You would know that these guys they are technologically advanced people. They were able to spread the money into accounts, new accounts, old accounts, and all that. Out of all the accounts that they were spread, there was only one woman that woke up and said, no, I'm not expecting 50 million. Where did this 50 million come from? So she went to complain. Others who did not complain, of course, EFCC is there. With advancement in technology, EFCC was able to track and follow up and be able to recover 1.2 billion conveniently. But I don't know about whether they've recovered the rest. But at the time that I was aware, they were able to recover without too much of a stress because of the advancement in technology. Now, let's get this. The fact that there is a lot of, that we have a lot of tools, that are very advantageous to us today. We should not close our eyes to the fact that there are negative aspects to having all these technologies. And I'll give an example. We have surveillance tools. Now, surveillance tools have been used that I am aware of. E.g., Pegasus has been used against human rights defenders like myself. They've been used against journalists. And these are what's sponsored by government. Governments will tell you that we have in Nigeria now a regulation that says lawful interception of communication. Now, you don't get any inkling onto anybody listening into your conversation, tracking your WhatsApp communication, because WhatsApp is I'm sure that a lot of people are tech people here. WhatsApp is one of those platforms that is very vulnerable. Nigeria spent more than 908 billion or so on just for technology to survey WhatsApp. I remember at that time at the National Assembly, they brought it up. That figure, please, I'm not too sure, but it was a lot of money at that time. And I had gone on platforms to talk about it. But with emerging technologies, everybody, including the financial sector, can pay for good security, good firewalls. Where you have good firewalls, you have VPNs that you can rely upon, that can give some sort of protection from infiltration, especially from hackers, So there's a lot that, with all these technologies, the good and then the bad, and then we have the ugly. The ugly in the sense that you see where a journalist was picked up from his home in Bayelsa, and nobody knew where he was until 2 years and 6 months. It was traced there, and it was easy. All you have to do is to engage your location and leave it on at every point in time. So with the emerging technologies, we lawyers, for instance, I'm a lawyer and I'm talking about all these things. I'm learning. I can train myself. I can retrain myself. I'm developing myself. I'm developing my security because I know of the dangers that it can portend. But yet, it has been able to give. These technologies have been able to give inclusive. I've been able to feel like I belong to the digital era. Because in that case that I was trying to mention earlier, it was a case I took against the country of Togo, because they had shut down the internet. They shut down the internet, and they shut down, that people cannot do anything online. So we took it against them. And the ECOWAS court actually held that everybody or everyone in Togo has a right to the internet. There is nothing like the right to the internet on its own as a human right, but it is a derivative right from the right to freedom of expression. Freedom of expression tells you that you can express yourself over any medium. So any medium now embraces the internet. Internet is embedded in any medium. So with that, it was easy to get a judgment against the government of Togo. Now, the same issue occurred in Nigeria, where telecommunications were shut down in Sokoto, in Gombe, in Kaduna, in Zamfara, and some other states, I think 5 or 6 of them. And I took a case against the Sokoto government. But the judges did not understand the implication, and they held against me. Of course, with the right support, I'm still going to appeal, because appeal is very financially intensive. Now, what Nigerian judges could not see, the ECOWAS courts judges could see. Why? Because they operate international standards, and they were able to have tools that made it very easy for them to research. So when we are talking about capacity building, Engineer Kunle, one of the things that is very impressive in my mind, even if ISOC Nigeria will be interested, is training the judges. We need to train our Nigerian judges. We need to build their capacities. We need to let them know that even with the digital space and digital economy, they also are involved. They also they are included. Because if a judge knows what it takes to go online and research about his health using the tools, and with a judge can have a farm, because a civil servant can have a farm. You can't run a business, they can do farming and learn and be able to use all these tools, for instance, in agric, use it in finances, and it sees that having ease of business, for instance, having ease of lifestyle. It would be hard for that judge, for instance, to say that the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission had done the right thing, or the Nigerian Communications Commission had done the right thing at some points by ordering that the communications should be shut down. Do you understand? So it's all about capacity building also. So we need to, build the capacity on the emerging technologies, judges, lawyers, the grassroots, everybody. And then I love what Oloyede was saying earlier. He was saying that it is not about regulation. It's funny that pin down exactly that point when I was,
Madam Mojirayo, I'm coming to take you up on that because I know you are a legal practitioner. So we're still going to talk about the framework stuff. In fact, that's going to be the next question for you. The one Mr. Oloyede, discussed. So I'm coming back to you on that. But before that, let me quickly go through some of the comments we have online here. I think it has been an interesting conversation, and I can see a lot of reaction from our platform. So I can see here somebody say, "I've learned a lot today. There is so much that I've learned." Sorry, I'm trying to read the exact word verbatim. There is so much that I've learned from these sessions. I would suggest that this be finalized into minutes and turned into a report to the appropriate ministry and more forums like this. Okay, thank you. So I believe that I actually mentioned this when we started this conversation, that whatever we resolve there is going to be part of the communique that's going to be issued at the level of the NIGF when we go back to the to the main room. All right, so another comment here says schools should not only be invited, but also their participation in internet forums like this. Okay, I think this is a general comment, so to say. And there is another one here that says it is appropriate to have continuous education and awareness on issues like cybersecurity at all quarters. This forum is highly welcome. Kudos to the organizer. So I think this is also applicable to us because we are talking about capacity building. And if you want to build capacity, then it's a matter of educating, relevant people that are, playing in the ecosystem. So there is another comment, another interesting comment here from, let me see, just a minute. Yes, from one of our fellows, she is a director at NBC and one of the fellows of the General School on Internet Governance. That's Aja Sani. She says, emerging technologies have changed the entire realm of everything we know. To scale up adoption and use electricity, and strong monitoring and enforceable regulations are critical. Very interesting discourse here. So I can see the online platform is buzzing, and of course, I'm still going to read out some of the comments later as I see them coming in droves, so to say. So before I come back to you, Barrister Mojirayo, I can see hand up. So I think we can actually, modify the our conversation. Why I'm saying that is because I can see a lot of interest being generated by the conversation. So I want to give the floor to Aja Sani to say one or two things. I can see that she has raised her hand for a very long time. Probably she wants to talk to one of those issues that our landed landed personality, that's the person of Barrister Ogunlana-Ikanga, what she has been saying. Maybe she wants to react to that. So you have the floor, Aja Sani, just for 2 minutes, because I can see that this is becoming more interesting.
It is a very interesting topic, no doubt. It is absolutely very interesting topic. Thank you so much, President Kunle Olorundare, and all your panelists there. This is a very critical time for us as a country. 2030 is around the corner. It's just 7 years away. Internet penetration, internet access, internet affordability, which we almost always just keep silent on, is critical. It's not enough for people to have internet access. If they can't afford it, it needs to be affordable. It needs to penetrate to the least community, the least hamlet in Nigeria. Otherwise, all that we're talking about is just rhetoric. We're just talking and talking and talking. Electricity is at the heart of internet access. If you don't have electricity, either in your office or in your house, you cannot access internet. It's as simple as that. So if we don't deal with the issues of electricity, which is the backbone of internet access, then we have not resolved anything. Essentially, when the panelists, the lady panelists, I'm sorry, the name just escaped my head. The lady panelist,
Barrister Mojirayo.
Barrister Mojirayo, where she just concluded, let me add that the Internet of Things and robotics and AI have gone way beyond even what we already know. As of last year, surgeries were being conducted remotely. A doctor is in a different space. There's an AI tool or an AI device or a robotic device in another space, and that device is conducting the surgery. The surgeon is conducting the surgery with that device. So it tells us already that the world that we know is already shifting. It has shifted too far away that we need to really adopt it. But a situation where, whether you're in the private sector or in the public sector, and you believe that it's only what you know that works, automatically you cannot have an uptake of the new technologies and its values. These are the major things that we need to correct. We need to enlighten people. People need to be able to understand that the technology is not here to take their jobs if they are adapting and adopting its methods and methodologies. That technology is here to assist, to promote, to grow what we already are doing. I think this is a fantastic conversation, and I enjoin the president, as ISOC president, to please take this further. It needn't be just a conversation around internet governance forums. It needs to be a conversation all across spaces throughout our country. We have several tech hubs that we can engage with. We have several groups, the disabled children groups, school groups, media groups. We can engage with all of these people just to bring their attention to the realities and the values derivable. Because if you don't share the values, then it becomes something that people are skeptical about. We need to be able to explain all of these things to them. Thank you very much, and well done to everybody on the panel.
Thank you very much, Aja Sani. Aja Sani is a fellow of Nigerian School of Internet Governance, and of course, she's a director at Voice of Nigeria. I beg your pardon. Voice of Nigeria. All right, thank you very much. So from what she has contributed so far, I can hear that the issue of capacity building is still very, very critical. She talked about, we taking, the gospel, permit me to use that word, to the nooks and crannies of the country. And we really need to let people know. And of course, in the process of letting people know, you are educating them. So that means this is very, very critical. So we are continuing with our conversation. And please, if you have comments, I don't want you to feel shy, but if you are the shy type, please, you can type your comment. I'm going to read all the comments on this platform. I promise you that, except maybe if I missed it. But if I don't miss it, I will definitely read your comment. I promise you that. But if you want to talk, please, you can raise up your hand. And when the time comes, I will definitely call you. So I'm going back to Barrister Mojirayo Ogunlana-Ikanga. Yes, before Mr. Oloyede left, I asked him a question on the issue of, regulation and framework. And of course, I know that you are a legal practitioner, so this is one of your thoughts. So I'm sure you will be able to propose some solutions for us here. So the question is, what are the potential risks and benefits associated with the adoption of emerging technologies in Nigeria? I think you have talked about that part. And how can this risk be effectively mitigated through regulatory and legal framework? So that's the aspect I want you to talk about. How can this risk be effectively mitigated through regulatory and legal frameworks? Being a legal practitioner, I'm sure you'll be able to do justice to that. Over to you, ma'am.
I would gladly delve on that topic, but I just wanted to point out that I was talking about emerging technologies in other sectors. I should have even used my sector pen as the starting point. Emerging technologies in the judiciary. Okay, so I have discovered that in Nigeria, the judiciary is slow, or should I say shy, in embracing emerging technology. And I will give you an example. And I love the fact that Ajia Sani mentioned the issue of people feeling threatened by this technology and thinking that, oh, AI is something, it's taking our jobs from us. So that's one. I was on the Emperor's Court, of the court that at 2020, when there was that shutdown or COVID lockdown, that went virtual, and we started going to courts online. So as at now, as a lawyer who practices most times in that regional court, I choose the option of going to virtual. It tells you can come physical if you want to physical, but virtual has made it very easy. We use the platform of Zoom, and it has facilitated the court process without even any problem. Now, on the technical issue Ajia mentioned, and that was accessibility. Right there in 2020, when I was getting my judgment, as I was there, thankfully that I had junior lawyers and my clients online. As I was listening to my judgment, that was when my network provider, I am trying my best to keep their names on the line. That was when my network provider decided that I will not be connected. I was listening to my judgment. I was taken out of the Zoom room. So there is that part where we say having internet access, and then I was in court to talk about internet access for people being shut out of access. Meanwhile, I have the access, but I do not access the platform. So these are issues that come with the technological space. Now, for the regulation, thankfully, I'm happy that Nigeria now has a Data Protection Act, which was passed into law by the present president on June 1st. Yeah. So with this, when we look at the emerging technologies, I would really talk more about privacy, and in I think about 2018, one of the things I mentioned when I went for the Internet Governance Forum in France was that privacy is going to be our major problem in future. With all these emerging technologies, privacy will be as we continue to move 20 years from now, privacy will be an issue. Now, I'm happy that most countries, especially with the border regulation, that's the GDPR, the countries have adopted the data protection regulation. So in Nigeria, we know that we have the Data Protection Act now. And so the Data Protection Act gives the framework that can give some kind of protection, a covering for Nigerians, that yes, when you are online, when you are using these technologies, your data is the main transaction. Your data is the most vulnerable because you would impute. It's either they're telling you to create, when you download an app, they can tell you to sign in, to create an account. They can tell you yes, Remini. Please, who in this room knows Remini? Remini, beautiful Remini artificial intelligence app that you can just put in your pictures, and then it's just alter you, and then you're looking like Agbani the Rego, and everybody's like, whoa, what have you been doing, woman? You've been working out. Meanwhile, as they're collecting this data, they're collecting it. What are they doing with it? So, one of the things that they've been telling us now in this new age, if you are downloading any app, you must make sure that you read their human rights policy. You must know that they are connected. I was happy when the Meta lady was talking about the amazing things that Meta is doing. I wanted, I didn't want to go into a lot of in-depth conversation. I wanted to ask her one particular question. Now, when human rights should be the basis for us going into platforms. Data Protection Act is telling us that. No, it's, in fact, I'm loving the fact that the Data Protection Act is putting a lot of body on data controllers and processors, so that when you have access to my data as a data subject, you need my consent to do whatever you want to do with my data. Of course, we have those exceptions which have been lawfully provided for. But even the exceptions that have been provided for, I, as a human rights person, still have an issue with it. I have an issue with it in the sense that I'm a data subject. You have my data, and you want to make sure that, or maybe you use it for a specific purpose, which I am aware of. I need to be aware of what you're using it for. It is exactly what, I'm trying to break it down as much as possible. That the data protection act is exactly what I asked you that I want to use it for, that I should use it for. At no point in time should I use your data for something else which you are not giving me consent on. That is called minimization. So when you have a data subject, you have the personal, the data subject personal information in your possession. This regulation is now telling you as a data controller or processor how to regulate yourself. Meanwhile, it says that there's an exception when, for instance, law enforcement wants to use your data maybe for a particular purpose. I have issues with it. Like now, I give the bank my information. There are issues where people have said that bank accounts were frozen. I, as a human rights person, I'm talking from my perspective as a human rights person. At no point in time do I believe that the bank should engage that law enforcement without them giving me the rights to know. You don't go ahead and lock my account and freeze my account because you are in custody of my personal information or do you understand, of what I have given you. I gave you the rights to access it. Then I should be the one to give it. I should be informed first. I'm not saying law enforcement should not do their job, but I believe that I should be informed. Dear customer, we have received a notice from ESC that your account has received maybe laundering or something. They can coin it in the Bible word, fraudulent activity, blah, blah, blah. We have been invited to give your information, blah, blah, blah. This is an awareness. Do you understand? Then immediately that also puts me on notice. If I am a criminal person, yes, I may decide to run. But technology has gotten to the point where they can track every kobo that is entering your account.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So you must give me that right as somebody who has, you must give me that right as my processor, someone who is holding my yes, give me that right. You must inform me. So that's one of the things I said I wanted to post to the Facebook people. I post something that I totally believe. For instance, that period of COVID, everybody was sensitive around the information. You didn't want to hear the other conversation. Everybody must believe that no, COVID is a threat, you cannot move, you cannot sit, you cannot do. So when people that are healthy, for instance, who have the rights, because I'm a freedom of expression, right, who have the right to hold an opinion and say, I am healthy. I am healthy. Of course, you that are rational can say, it has nothing to do. That's right. I am healthy. I don't care about your COVID. Listen. And then you say something opposing to what Fauci has provided as a medical expert. People in there removes your post. Without even giving you the opportunity to say anything. I think those are issues. And those are not issues for the future when it comes to whether regulation should not be done blindly.
Sorry, 1 minute, ma. 1 minute, ma.
Yes, sir.
1 minute, ma. Sorry, ma.
Must be at the foundation of every action that we are taking in the future.
Madam Mojirayo, sorry to interrupt you. I can hear some background noise. Please, if you are not talking, please let's observe decorum. Please mute your mic. Remember, I said that when the time comes, I will allow you to contribute, and if you have questions, you will have time to ask your questions. But at this time, when our panelist is on, please let us observe decorum. Could you mute your mic if you are not talking? Please. Thank you very much. Sorry, ma, please.
Yes, sir. So it's just that I need to say that the core of every action that or every regulation that we are taking, I love the DPA. It's progressive. Yes, we have one or two comments that there should be one or two amendments that should go into the DPA. Yes, but it's a good one. I remember the NIGF, was it last year or was it 2 years ago that I was one of the people who was complaining about just having the NDPR, which is just a regulation that we needed a legislation that we would run with as lawyers. We want to go to court and challenge them. It's better to have a subsidiary legislation. And that's what the DPA is now for everybody. It's a subsidiary legislation. You can take anybody to court of it. For instance, I saw Spectranet. Spectranet put it there, we are DPA compliant. I was happy. I had to snap the picture because it shows that we are getting to that stage where everybody is becoming aware. But let us be very sincere also that this awareness is very elite. It is not foundational. Those people in the villages, they don't know. They don't know. Those people in the village, they don't know. They pick up their phone and they say they are catching cruise online. And they say, oh, look at that fat stomach. They think they're just doing it. But making such comments is already demeaning and it can be interpreted as violence, for instance. So they don't know. So NIGF, he needs people to know. So there's a lot of work on that aspect. So I think that's the point.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. Oh my God, a lot has been said. And in fact, well, let me just quickly talk about some salient point that she has mentioned. She mentioned the issue of the fact that people need to know, what their rights are. And she also mentioned the issues that may come with privacy, even as, these emerging technologies are advancing. She also mentioned the issue of people should try as much as possible to read before you accept any condition. Just because you want to browse a website doesn't mean that you should just accept everything that they bring to you. And of course, she now made a clearing call to NIGF, probably to organize more awareness and so on and so forth. And I'm excited to tell us that whatever we discuss here today is going to be part of the communique that's going to be issued at this 2023 NIGF, which of course is going to be passed to appropriate, departments, agencies, and, government reps, so to say. So that is one good thing about NIGF. NIGF is a place where we, discuss, we brainstorm, and we try to look out for, relevant solutions to, issues at stake, so that at least is whatever solution that is coming out of it, or whatever guideline or regulation is coming out of it, is going to be participatory. Why? Because we have made input, or we have contributed into the process of making such a guideline or a regulation, which I think is good for our community. So to say thank you very much, Barrister Ikanga. But off my track now, because you mentioned one issue. So I just want to ask you a question. Now, these people are talking about, okay, right to be forgotten, even on the internet. So what is your own view about right to be forgotten? If probably maybe I've visited the website, and probably after some time, okay, a very good example, let's say, okay, I'm on a particular social media, I don't want to use specific name now. And probably after some time, I say, okay, no, I'm not interested in this particular social media platform again. I want to close my account, and I don't want any of my record to remain on that platform. So what's your own view about that?
Yes, thank you, sir. I remember that right before God was one of the topics that was discussed extensively at the Internet Governance Forum 2018 and 2023. And then I think there was this Google case. I can't remember the name. So I had a very long chat with my partners. So there is a complexity that I have to say about rights to be forgotten. On one hand, we have criminals who have left their footprints on the digital space. And for one thing or the other, with this, from what came out from the European, European Court of Human Rights, it says that when they are applied, that they can, that the platform should raise their footprint. Should I say I'm on the fence? I'm not on the fence, but I am not too comfortable when it has to do with a criminal footprint. I feel that if you have decided on your own, for whatever reason, to have a criminal footprint, that it should be left that way. Now, why? So that it puts other people on notice of who you are. Yeah. So people say things like, oh, they have gone through rehabilitation and that they have changed. They come up and say that. But I think that when, I'm still saying it, when it has to do with a criminal footprint, I believe that it should be there. But now, on the issue of being on the social media platform, and deciding one day that you don't want to be there, I think this also goes into the issue of privacy and data protection. Now, data protection says that you cannot keep the personal information of the data subject for forever. It is not an eternity thing. So it gives a specific or it gives a period in which that particular data can be used. Now, in this particular scenario, I think what the EPA has identified is the fact that you have collected a particular personal information for a particular purpose. Now, would we say that when you are on social media, you are gone in with the mindset that you're going to just be there for 2 months, then you come out in the 3rd month and tell the people I'm not doing it again, cancel my information? I still believe, though, that an individual should be able to be forgotten if they want to be forgotten. Because these are business people, these are intermediaries. What they are there for is to make money. Now, you are the one that gives them the opportunity to make money by being present on their platforms, by using their platforms. So if you decide today that you do not want to be on their platforms again, they need to do that. They need to do you the favor, and you raise your information. So on that aspect, you can see on that aspect, I am tilted towards rather be forgotten. But on the aspect of when it comes to criminality and violations, they should remain that way. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and go to Google and research Adolf Hitler, and then it tells me Adolf Hitler was the worst kind of human being that ever existed in history. I want to see that. I want that history to remain that history. It should never be changed. Because when we give the opportunity for anybody, any information, anyhow to be forgotten, we are going to forget the atrocities that have defined the human society for years. We must never forget Auschwitz. Auschwitz must always be there. We must never forget the Civil War of 1967 in Nigeria. We must never forget the apartheid. And if we give people the right to be forgotten, if we put the right to be forgotten at our foundation, in the next 3 rounds of generations, they will not remember all these things, and then they would likely fall back into the same kinds of problems that had already taken place in the past. And why would I say so? Till tomorrow, some people still believe that their blood is the pure blood and that they should have superiority as humans over others. Now, why have they not been able to carry out their ideologies? Why have they not been able to carry it out to the fullest option? It is because we have history where we can always go back to. We have this information where we can always, research and see that this is what happened when Germany was in this kind of situation. So when you have a country, for instance, like anybody who wants to actually learn, says that in Afghanistan, the Taliban has made it impossible to feel like you are a human if you are a woman. Do you understand? So we have that kind of history, which now tells you that you cannot implement a Taliban ideology to the future. We don't want those kind of future. We want a future where people are free and human beings are born to be free. But yet, criminal footprint, criminal past atrocities, all of them must be the same. I don't want to know whether somebody has become 93 and he has been rehabilitated or anything. The main thing is that you committed this atrocity, let it be there. Then you can now be there to prove to us that you are not the person that you used to be, but that should be completely forgotten. No way. When it comes to criminal activity, no way. No forgetting for you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your views on the issue of the controversial issue of right to be forgotten. And I think we have all learned a lot. So maybe there's need to delineate between, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if somebody has done something bad in the past and he or she say, oh, I want to be forgotten. So I think we need to learn to remember such evil deeds so that such would not reoccur again. All right, but for the good people, I think probably maybe it should be their right. Well, I don't know. It's something that we can still have a conversation on. We can advance the conversation. That's an interesting perspective. Thank you very much. All right, how many minutes do we have more now?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. The technical team says that we have 6 more minutes to go.
Okay, fantastic. So the last question I want to pose to you is, how can Nigeria foster an enabling environment that supports innovation and entrepreneurship in emerging technologies? And how can stakeholders work together to achieve this? Sorry, entrepreneurship. I beg your pardon. That's the right word.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get that question.
Okay, so this question, let me just interpret the question. The question is asking how we can actually foster, the kind of environment where stakeholders can work together to achieve a common goal in terms of support for innovation and entrepreneurship.
Sir, I think that in approaching that question, I know you know.
2 minutes,
we need a committed, yes, because we have only 6 minutes, so I'll be very frank about it. We need a committed government. That is the first thing. When we have a committed government, that government would work towards, collaborating with every sector. This is something that we have always been saying in ISOC, in Nigf. We have to look at a multi-stakeholder approach to every issue that has to do with the internet. Because if you're talking about emerging technologies, if you're talking about advancement, whatever you're talking about, if your government is not committed to these ideals that will make it possible to flourish as an entrepreneur, for instance, then you will not be able to flourish as an entrepreneur. So it is not about the paying lip service that we usually do. Like we're on the platform that was facilitated by people today. I think it's not about paying lip service. When women came out and said we have 5 bills before the National Assembly, and then they came out and said, don't worry, we will reconsider 3. No worry, we will reconsider 3 was March 8, 2022. We are here now, we are still here. We are waiting for those 3 bills, at least those 3 bills to be done. So I know that we have a government that pays more of lip service, but we need a government that is committed. That is the only key to unlocking a lot of opportunities for many people. And we have so many people that we have a very beautiful human resource, should I say capital in Nigeria? We have a lot of people, intelligent people, resourceful people that if you just invest in them, everything, Nigeria can be formidable. But of course, the government needs to be committed. So,
all right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, our erudite landed person. She has actually done justice to that, and we also appreciate Mr. Ridwan Oloyede, who was with us even earlier when we started, before he stepped out and dropped on this call for other pressing assignment. We appreciate all our contributors too, Ayasani and those other contributors who have made our platform to buzz. So we appreciate every one of you. And just to finally summarize this, the final point made by Barrister Ikanga, has to do with multi-stakeholderism when it comes to how we can foster enabling environment. And she has told us that the government has to take the lead in the multi-stakeholderism so that at least everybody can be, put together, everybody can work together to achieve a common goal on the issue of, data governance and privacy as it concerns digital economy, which of course we cannot run away from. As a matter of fact, all over the world, everybody's talking about digital economy. Why? Because that has come to stay, and even post-COVID, the impression that digital economy has created more pronounced. All right, thank you very much. So if anybody has a comment, we are wrapping up now, and I think it's time
raise his hand inside this room, sir.
I've read all the comments online, but I think there is no other comment online. But if anybody, okay, on site, please quickly, yes. 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. My name is
all right.
My name is Mojirayo, the director of the Two Tips for Grassroots Development Initiative and executive director of Nigerian Internet Registration Association. I just want to point where our barrister had mentioned. I was thinking the conversation will not tip towards that level, but the point is this: when she was talking about the need to reach the people in the rural areas, it's very fantastic.
Yeah.
People have been made the highest number of population of Nigerians, and these people don't even know anything about data protection. So she made mention of a multi-stakeholder group, which has not been defined. So I want to quickly define it for us to help by the time we are sending our communique. In the sense that NDPC, that's Nigerian Data Protection Act Commission, has been mandated to carry out publicity awareness on data governance, data privacy. So it is important that this commission brings on board state governments, local government, and using the polling unit as a pattern in terms of reaching out to everybody in the country. If they can bring on board our local government to sensitize them about this, then our local government leaders can take responsibility on advocating, taking awareness to the people. Then we will say, or we can say that in the nearest future, we'll be able to get to that level where everybody can understand that he or she has a right. And lastly, to add that some of these companies whose platform Nigerians are on, most of them are not domiciled in Nigeria. So how can we, as a matter of fact, reach out to them? During COVID, they tried to suspend, to ensure that Twitter has an office in Nigeria. Why? Not because they want to sanction them completely or make them responsible, but they need to do responsibility. And it is only when you have somebody that you can reach out to, have dialogue, that is when some things can take the effect. So on this note, it is important that we continue to engage and ensure that all these big tech firms have a presence in our country for it to be smooth and seamless.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. So I'm hearing something that is, of course, another subject for discussion at another event. That is the issue of digital sovereignty, which of course is a big deal, and it's a burning issue, but we'll not be able to discuss that here today. So thank you very much for your contribution. So just to summarize, we have talked about how we can effectively integrate what's called emerging technologies into our economy, and we have mentioned the fact that artificial intelligence, robotics, some of those emerging technologies that can be used. And of course, on the issue of potential risk, we have identified the fact that the issue of privacy may need to be looked at very well, so to say, and other matters, and to stall that in the to nip that in the bud. We have mentioned the fact that there's supposed to be some form of innovative regulations like sandboxes and the use of rule-based regulations as propounded. Then on the third item, which of course has to do with leveraging on emerging technologies for social services and other environmental issues like healthcare, finance, agriculture, and to, of course, the promotion of inclusivity. We have mentioned, Barrister mentioned how healthcare can be how some of this emerging technology can be applied in healthcare, the issue of using IoT-based solutions and so on and so forth has been mentioned. Then, of course, we discussed the issue of capacity building, which, of course, is one of the mainstays of this discussion. We have to get people educated. We have to create awareness. We have to build capacity, even in the legal ecosystem, even in the rural villages. And that point has also been established by some of our contributors. So thank you very much. And of course, the last one on the issue of how the government can work with all the stakeholders. And it has been identified that multi-stakeholderism is the way to go. We have to work together. We have to give rooms for every stakeholder to have a say. And at the end of the day, we bring all opinions together under multi-stakeholderism, and that can be fine-tuned into a communique. And exactly that is what we are doing here today. Because after this now, I believe the rapporteurs have taken note of all these identified solutions from our discourse, and of course that is going to be passed to the main house, and I believe that the main communique is going to be generated there, and based on the resolutions that we have put forward. So please, rapporteur, please do the needful so that at least the resolutions from this discussion can be taken to the main house. So on behalf of the organizers of the 2023 NIGF, that is the MAG, I want to say thank you very much for making this conversation a robust one. That is the conversation on navigating data governance and privacy in the digital economy of Nigeria. And I believe that each and every one of us has learned one or two things from this conversation. And I want to encourage us that as we are going back, even after the NIGF, let us advance the conversation. Don't let it be like, oh, fine, it is only when we have NIGF that we are going to have conversation around all these burning issues. No, that shouldn't be the case. We should go to our communities, we should go to our sectors and advance the conversation. And by so doing, we are going to come up with robust contribution even in the ecosystem, and that is how we can grow even more. So thank you very much, and I remain your humble servant. My name is Engineer Kunle Olorundare, the acting president of Internet Society, Nigeria chapter, and of course, the moderator for the panel session 4 on navigating data governance and privacy in the digital economy of Nigeria. So for now, I say thank you, stay safe, and please, let's go back to the main room. Don't go home yet. Please, let's go back to the main room. Thank you. Barrister, thank you very much.
Yes,
What a fantastic
yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir.
Ajasani, thank you. I can see that being a fellow of the Nigerian School of Internet Governance is fantastic.
And I know that some of us... myself.
Ma, come again.
It's not for myself.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
My God. That's great. Nice one. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I can see some of our new fellows, Abibat Olatunji. I think she's from the 2023 cohort, and Olotu Esiosa. I think she's also part of 2023 cohort, and a couple of other guys. So thank you very much. I appreciate every one of you for taking part in this conversation.